Hello, everybody. This is me. And as I'm traveling, I'm just kind of thinking about a whole bunch of thoughts here. It's like I'm at a park. That's where I am. And so, the time now is about, let's see, somewhere around late at night. And so I'm right. And I decided let me just go start talking about stuff because I always think it's kind of cool to talk about stuff and talk about different things as I'm doing this here. So, this here, couple of thoughts. That's emotion. All right, so I've been listening to different speakers, and I've been doing a little bit of philosophy and studying different philosophical conversations and thoughts, and I've been learning a lot of stuff. Let me make sure this thing stops playing. All right, cool. A lot of philosophical points of view and a lot of different things. And let's see. Okay, so what happens is this, right? Pretty much they have a situation where it's they're talking about different philosophies and different philosophical views on things. So the ideas of it, what I'm talking about, is that you have a mindset where talk about politicians and how politicians, they're trying to do one thing, but the human mindset, what is versus what should be, is different than what actually is. So he said that one guy was talking about how there is a thing where people they always talk about they want the good, but what they want is the effective. They don't necessarily want the good. They want that which is effective, that which can be changed, that which can be that's here. I'm trying hard to write and think at the same time. So that which can do that, they can be effective versus that which can be kind, as opposed to it's better to be effective and get the job done than it is to be nice and to kind of I thought about that a lot through high school and college. I remember a time when I was in college, they had this thing where they wanted people to actually what's the word? They wanted people to actually to run for student president and all that stuff. And people nominated me, to be student president. I was like, I don't want to do that stuff. I don't want to be a student president, The reason being is that I didn't. Let me just I want to take the bridge, go up the bridge. So what happens is, right, I didn't think of anything as important. So what I did was consequential because it didn't matter at all that they had that because there was no reason or any need for that. I mean, that didn't change anybody's life or anything like that. That did being a political person. But then there's a whole aspect of at one point I was in ministry and we were working evangelism, and we worked to be part of evangelism, and we're working with different churches and stuff like that. And what happened was that we found that I have to walk right here. There's a thing where we had to walk. We were working with different people, and what we found out, what we found out was that there was an aspect of where, wow, there's an aspect where there's power, and wherever there's people, there's always sometimes a struggle or a political struggle or something. So what ended up happening was that it's over the course of time we started learning about the thing in regards to this leadership and how leadership works, and how there's so much there's so much power to be had. Now the Bible talks about the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and there's the pride of life. Most people always talk about and are very concerned about the whole thing with lust of the eyes and lust of the flesh, the desires of the flesh. But there's a pride of life that comes to play too. There's a whole power thing, whole power struggle, whole power play that people are very concerned about. And so the thing is with that, when we worked in ministry, we had this thing where we ran into different personality types. Let's call them pastors. That's what they were. And they were all about, keeping the agenda going and stuff, their agenda. There's always, people always have ideas, ideologies, and things they want to get accomplished. One of the things that we wanted to reach people. We wanted to actually go out there and make an impact and make a difference, and let people know that that the gospel is real. The gospel is real, and that Jesus died on the cross for the sins of the world. And they didn't care about all the other prestige type stuff. we were hoping through what we were doing in ministry to be able to pay for all of our bills and stuff, pay for all of our, our things that cost us money, But later we learned that usually in ministry, it's usually the pastors or overseas missionaries that get the money. People who are lay people here, they get a job in America. So you get a job and then you do ministry on your own. So what happens is like you have the situation where if you're not making your own money and then volunteering on Sunday to do ministry, pretty much you're either a missionary overseas where you can't work a job. That's kind of how it worked out. But so we were able to raise our support on $1,200 a month or so. So it was able to say $1,000 a month. And then after that we started plateauing and then finally started declining because it was like, I guess people don't understand what open air, what an evangelist was, in New York, in regards to, how people can actually go out there and, and just talk to people about Jesus when there's like a church on every corner. So, going back to what I started off initially with the whole thing with Machiavelli and listening to his situation about the prince, it's like, some people are like, when you look at ministry, sometimes ministry is like handed down and people automatically are in favor of being ruled by the children of the, quote, quote, elite. And so what happens is that they are willing to keep it going as long as opportunity permits itself to keep it going, Grab my bike real quick to go up and down. And so as long as the opportunity is there, they will continue to have the power to go ahead and do stuff, and they'll get a pass and all these things. And those poor children of people in ministry, oh yes, all kind of stuff, all kind of conversation. But then here's what's interesting is that you have this thing.
Like I want like 1 foot nothing, stuff like that.
So then what happens is like, right now I'm passing by City Field, and what ends up happening is that people are wanting to be ruled. They want to be controlled by strength and power. You see, if a person's a good leader, they will figure out a way to kill a good leader. Because the people who do wickedness will not have the advantage against those who are prone to wickedness. It's as if they which are good are bound by being good. That's why Batman will always lose to the Joker, because the Joker has no boundaries, but Batman does, And so because of that, a person has a boundary. That boundary is their weakness. So when it comes to when I was listening to the things, they talked along the line about how, with regards to, that the prince, he must be able to execute judgment swiftly and quickly, and then also be seen not as a blatant wicked person. They have to be seen as a person who can balance, who can keep the fire of fear going, and also be able to do really intense stuff like change the situation and maintain control. And they say that a politician can't be all good. The bad one will get the stuff done, but at the same time, though, they have a scenario where the bad one will get the job done, but it's also a bad one and nothing of value or virtue. So it's one of those things where, biblical speaking, thinking about King Solomon and how King Solomon was, he was the wisest king, and he's able to do stuff that was, he never had to wage any wars. He had no wars he had to fight, But when a king has to wage a war, or yes, in the case of the prince has to wage a war, he has to put it in such a way that he has to crush his enemies. Because a person that's wounded, like they showed in Endgame, a person that's wounded will try to rise up again and remember and try to solve the problem. Whereas those who are completely crushed can never come back again. You can't let himself open for attack again. So he went from being a person who just had a situation where he tried to balance the universe to where he completely was willing to annihilate the entire universe. And so the reason for that is because to start all over, start afresh, where there's no memory of anything. So, here mind the lane. Alright. So, this is some of my thoughts. Some of my thoughts properly. Some of my thoughts.
Person ran onto the battery side of your bed.
This one. Alright, so here we are, we're crossing all these different cars. And so, the situation here is that we have to go this way. So here we are crossing busy street. There's a lot of people here. Alright, so cool. So anyway, so what happens is this, to get my thoughts out, it's like, it's cool when you're driving and there's like nobody here. Not so cool when you have a million people you gotta avoid and swerve and trying to hit and then try to talk lower. They're not listening to your conversation. But for the most part though, it's like a lot of stuff, you know. People are just all over the place, you know. And so here it is for the most part. So okay, what I'm trying to say, the whole scenario is that in the long run, for sure, and long of it all, is that people with power, I'm trying to figure out what's the opposite of that, you know? What is a benevolent ruler? What's a benevolent ruler? What's a person that can actually be a good ruler, that can rule people? Is that, there's such a thing? I mean, you know, thank you. Alright, cool. Hey. I think I'm walk, I can't ride and talk at the same time. Okay, so anyway, what happens is, the whole thing of this is that you have a scenario and situation where is there a thing as a benevolent, can there be a thing called a benevolent ruler? We're all rulers harsh and cruel. And why does people consistently put themselves under the auspices and the desires of people who want to rule over them? Someone said the people who should rule, the people who should rule are the people who don't want to. People who have no desire for the power that comes with it, who just want to do a good job and help the people, like to do their job and go back home and spend. With the extra power comes extra stress, you know? You have this thing where, you know, and the second I became elevated in the position to being a supervisor, all of a sudden all the people who were my friends were like, the next day they all hated me. And I was like, I didn't do anything, I didn't do anything. I didn't get, you know, full of it in my head or anything like that. I was just like, just being a normal person. And then I was asked them to do some stuff. That's not right. So then they're not gonna be ruled by you. You know, you can't rule friends, you know? And if if you're mean, you know, a mean leader, what will happen is that people will consider you to be a mean person and not pay you any mind, you know? So you have a thing where it's like, you have to kind of find that balance. So it's better to rule strangers or rule over strangers than it is to rule over people that you know. It's kind of like the whole thing of like, you know, when you go to I've been to many events, you know, like I've gone to these body painting events. And in the body painting events, they've had these things where, you know, it's like there with strangers, you know, strangers. But it's like, I always wanted to like invite more of my friends to come see this. Like, hey, friends, come see this. This is pretty cool. And then it's like, you know, it's like some people that I know don't want to have people go and see people that they know. It's kind of like, I mean, why? It's kind of all the same thing. It's, to me, it's like, if the other person's your friend, it doesn't matter if they see you in this form or that form. You know, with clothes or without clothes. They're your friend. Because it's like, you know, they may have to see you at one point. You might be able to, you know, you might fall in the shower or something. And your friend's going to have to see you and take care of you, you know, and pick you up and all that stuff. But for the most part, though, if you, you know, pretty much that's one of those things where, you know, you're just really weirded out by your friends. And then an emergency situation, I mean, why does it have to be an emergency situation, you know? Anyway, there we go, I digress. But the point I was trying to say, before I started rambling on these other points, was this. That you have a scenario and you have a situation where when a person who is to be over you, you know, you're faced with different like ideologies or different thoughts, just say clearly, that person that is your friend has a hard time being your boss. if that boss of yours is your friend in this context of your work, it's hard for them to be your friend. But if you're no longer your boss, then you can clearly be your friend. So the thing is, it's almost as if this. I've seen also that when people go up to different levels in leadership and management, they that the friendship, and they have a different kind of friendship. But is it really friendship? Is that the question? Is that a real friendship or just an office friendship? Because it's like you have the thing where when we were in ministry, we thought everybody was our friend. We thought everybody had the same idea and the same belief system, that they were like want us to help out and to reach people, and said, oh, you have a unique gift. Oh, how dumb we were. We learned the politics way later. That it's like we learned the politics way later. That there's like there is a thing where if you don't understand the politics, you'll be destroyed by it. And the politics was that they don't listen to anybody. They listen to people who are the strongest and most in power. And even the person is right for them, or has a title, they'll follow that person. So it's not one of those things where they're gonna be just listening to you because, oh look, you have this thing, you have a title. No, they listen to you because your title is the king of titles. So like, for example, your pastor, you can say anything to a person. They'll automatically listen to you. There's the people who just follow you wholeheartedly because they feel that that's like God has set them on that throne for them to rule. So like a king, they will rule. And if you come to challenge them with any other ideology as a person, their sister in Christ, what happens is that person will blacklist you, I guess. And then all the people who adore and love the king will hate you too. So we were like shocked by that. But then it's like, so now when you have a situation where it's a boss code thing, but if your boss is of that caliber and it's almost like you're a soldier and that's your sergeant and your leader, that person, you can't really joke with them because they're going to take it as serious. But then you cease to being something. I had this conversation. I told my sister once. I said that sometimes it's like it's very difficult for a person to be in control of a corporation, to be in control of a business, because what happens is that when you are in control of a corporation or a business, you actually lose the power to speak truth. So, are you speaking truth? Like, here you have like the president, he was just a regular person, and he was a star, and he was a celebrity and all that stuff, and then he became president, and then now he becomes hated, but he didn't really change much. It's the same person he was before, same person he was current, same person he is now, just that now he has the title of president. And some people are like, not my president, all that stuff. Some people are like, oh, he can do no right. Some people are like, he can do no wrong. But you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, like everybody else. We all have flaws and messes ups and stuff, But for example, when you come into like a ministry thing, they call that person like a pastor, a man of God, and they call him that because he's there. He went to school, and he or she went to school, and then they became like their, they got their accolades. They went and studied, but it's like the seal of God is something that God puts on people, not just because you go and apply for it. There's certain things you have to do, but then God will direct your steps. Like, I've always wondered, like, many times, and maybe in my life, I was supposed to be in ministry per se, and maybe that's why I'm not in ministry today. But then again, I'm in a different kind of ministry. But it was like the kind of ministry He wants me to be in. It's the one where I'm just kind of like amongst the people and being an encouragement and a light to them, as opposed to being a person with a title. It's as if God's been showing me all my life that a title kind of hinders people. I have a friend of mine, and we're talking about like how, in terms of the flat earth and stuff, that they don't believe that a person should share their thoughts from a religious point of view because, most people think religions, and Christianity specifically, they don't think of us as Christians have any right to talk anything science. But then what happens is, like, the whole aspect is, if we're able to talk, and we bring that up because we talk about the fact that, flat earth ties in a lot into the biblical cosmology, that we're the center of the universe, and that, the firmaments above us separates the waters above from the waters below, and that the sun and moon and the stars circle underneath the firmament. And it's like, NASA lies and everything like that to us about the whole dimension and how things work. So anyway, long story short, it's like, it's a person saying that, a friend of mine saying that the use of talking biblical is a bother to people because it automatically shuts them off. But I was thinking the whole topic of flat earth already shuts people off. So it's not really like, it's not like it's it's the ways to go or really that far are much different, you know. So my thing is this, I'm just kind of thinking about like how all these things work, and I'm just exhausted right now. And just pretty much what happens is like you have. My point is that you shouldn't worry about such things. And everything's going to hinder some people, and some things are going to not hinder any people at all. It's kind of one of those things where some people are offended by the color of people's skin, and they won't give you a pass because you're born a certain way. So if you start talking about certain things and people don't like it, then you're just going to find the people that do like it. Just like and ready for it. You can't change everybody's mind, and you shouldn't force people to change. Because if you try and force people to change, you're going to get resentment. So it's one of those things where if you just go ahead and let people just change in the time they want to change or when they want to, and here, just talk what you're going to talk and say what you're going to say, get it out of your system. So, but a friend of mine said that, he says, you are here to say something, and if you don't say something, the world's going to suffer for you. You're not saying what you have to say. So say what you got to say, get it off your chest, and have your conscience clear. It's like my life verse is I'm finding my brother and be strong in the Lord and the power of his might, which means be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. His might, his power, and his strength. All those are strong terms, and it's all based on his strength. God's strength, not my own strength. Because he knows, and I know that the Bible says the arm of flesh, our arm will fail us, Our flesh, our strength will fail us. But for the most part, though, God will never fail us because, it's like constant. He who holds the world, can definitely hold us up in times of crisis and struggle. So, with that said, thoughts in motion, that's why it's kind of like more like a session of just telling all my thoughts and letting the situation go. Just want to say thank you for listening. My point being for the whole thing was just to be able to share thoughts about things in my mind. Talked about religion, talked about flat earth a little bit, talked about body painting, talked about just, ministry, talked about, a bike ride home, and pretty much that's what I'm doing. So here we go. Just about to get home. Thank you so much for listening. All right, and have a good night. Talk to you soon. All right, bye.